Good day, everyone. Today, we are thrilled to discuss our presentation, which is about life safety systems. I would like to introduce to you the presenters of Tech Titans. My name is Kim Corquez, together with Santua Sam Allen, Buisan Mel, Salvador Charmaine, Pil Hana, Malait Maria Luella, Francisco Jolly, Alapan Christian, Roland Johanny, and Liman Maria Threes. For the objectives, first is to identify, describe, and distinguish between passive and active fire protection. Then the types and key components of building fire extinguishing, sprinkler and standpipe systems, fire detection systems, and fire alarm systems. And lastly, to interpret building fire protection system, design and detailing information. So for the introduction, any interior building element designed to protect and evacuate the building population in emergencies, including fires and earthquakes and less critical events such as power failures. May I call Chairman Salvador to discuss this next slide?
Okay. So in life safety systems, we have fire detection systems. Fire detection systems include electronic heat and smoke detectors that can activate ibalik sa Kim. Okay. Fire detection system includes electronic heat and smoke detectors that can activate audible alarms and automatically notify local fire departments. And we also have the fire suppression. These are hand-operated fire extinguishers, and often building sprinkler systems are provided. Next slide. Okay. Here is an example of a design of a pressurized smoke-proof enclosure and also a sprinkler system, light or ordinary or high hazard. These are examples of sprinkler system. These are classified into light, ordinary, or high hazard depending on flammable materials that are designed for. Next slide, please. Okay. For our passive and active fire protection, what's the difference between active and passive fire protection systems? Let's start with active fire protection or AFP. Okay. An active fire protection requires an action to detect, respond to, contain, or suppress a fire. So we have types of fire protection systems, which includes heat detectors, flame detectors, smoke detectors, and fire alarm systems. Next slide. Okay. Here are examples of active fire protections. We have smoke detectors. Smoke detectors use noise and light alarms to alert occupants of smoke, enabling an early evacuation and response to fires. Here is an example of the Data Protect new smoke and heat alarms. Okay. We also have sprinkler systems. These are automatic and activate when heat from a fire causes its mechanism to break spraying water to suppress the fire. Next are fire hydrants. Fire hydrants are a connection point of firefighters to access water from combat fires using their hoses and other professional equipments. Next slide, please. Okay. Lastly, fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers are a manual form of active fire protection. A person must locate the extinguisher and spray the small fire with a substance that coats the burning item or deprives it of oxygen. I'll explain later or We will explain later the types of fire extinguishers. Next slide, please. Okay. Let's go on to passive fire protection, or PFP. Passive fire protection systems protect the building against fire without a specific operational action. The key elements of fire protection systems are fire-resistant walls, heavy-duty fire doors, and fire-resistant glass. Other assets can sometimes be passively protected through spray-applied fireproofing. Okay. These systems safeguard buildings by ensuring fire burns quickly due to insufficient fuel. Passive fire protection measures like fire doors also play a crucial role in plotting a fire's route through a building, giving fire crews a better chance of putting it out quickly and people evacuating safely. Next slide, please. Here are some examples of passive fire protection. First are fire doors. They are specifically designed and built to slow the spread of fire between rooms or spaces of a building. They are self-closing, made of fire-resistant materials, and have seals that expand when exposed to heat, creating a, a tight barrier against flame and smoke. Next is fire and smoke dampers. Fire and smoke dampers are installed in HVAC systems and ductwork to prevent the fire and smoke from spreading through these pathways. Next is a fire-resistant glass. These are often used in doors and windows and is engineered to maintain hold during a fire. It can withstand high temperatures for long periods and prevent the spread of flames and smoke while allowing some visibility for safe evacuation. Next slide, please. And last example here is a photoluminescent exit lights. These are non-electrical safety signs that absorb and store energy from other light source. During power failures or in smoke-filled rooms, they glow to provide a clear and bright guide toward the exit and escape routes. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Active versus passive fire protection systems and why you need both. Both the active and passive fire protection systems will kick in if the worst happens and your building catches fire. As soon as a fire is detected, active fire systems, including sprinklers, sirens, and manual firefighting, will start. In order to provide residents with more time to safely escape and lessen the amount of damage before emergency fire crew arrive, passive protection systems will contain the fire and prevent it from spreading to other parts of the structure. This will end my part. Thank you for listening. Next reporter, please.
Thank you, Charmaine. So, good day, everyone. I am Sam Alan M. Santua, and my topic is about the types and key components of building fire extinguishing system. So, fire extinguisher system in building. It is a device used to put out fires, usually with the help of an extinguishing agent such as water or foam. In a building, fire extinguishers are typically located near exits and other high traffic areas so that occupants can quickly respond to a fire. Next slide. And in fire extinguishers, there are different types of fire extinguisher systems in building. So here we have 4 different types of fire extinguisher. First is wet chemical system, foam system, dry powder system, and carbon dioxide and halon system. So first is wet chemical system. What is wet chemical system for? So it is a wet chemical system uses water mixed with chemicals that lower the surface temperature of flammable materials. This type of system is often found in commercial kitchens as it quickly stops fires in deep fat fryers and other cooking appliances. Second is the foam system. Foam system introduces foam agents such as AFFF, aqueous film-forming foams, into the area affected by the fire. The foam forms a blanket over the burning materials, smoothing it and removing oxygen needed to keep the fire burning. And that is the foam system. The third one is the dry powder system. What is dry powder system? It releases a fine dust-like powder designed to reduce heat and interrupt combustion when put into contact with flames. This system is most commonly used in warehouses or industrial complexes where large fires can occur quickly. Next slide. The last type of fire extinguisher is the carbon dioxide and halon system. So this is two specialty for extinguisher systems. Carbon dioxide extinguishers use carbon dioxide gas to suffocate the fire, while halon extinguishers release an inert gas that disrupts flame propagation by reducing available oxygen levels. And both types are commonly used in computer data centers or other areas where sensitive equipment needs to be protected from heat or smoke damage caused by fires. So those are the different types of fire extinguisher systems in building. Next reporter, please.
Good day, everyone. I am Maria Teres Limen, and I will be continuing the report. So, a main part of fire extinguisher. The first one is the bulb assembly. So, ang bulb assembly is essential for the effective operation of a fire extinguisher, allowing the user to safely and efficiently direct the extinguishing agent at the fire. So, the second one is cylindrical tank. It is the main body that holds the extinguishing agent under pressure. The next one is propellant. It is a vital functioning of our extinguisher because it is a gas that helps to expel the extinguishing agent from the cylinder when the extinguisher is activated. Next is ang extinguishing agent. Of course, no, it is the substance used to put out a fire. So there are different types of extinguishing agents that are designed to combat fire, like water, foam, dry powder, carbon dioxide, and so on. And lastly is the hose. It serves to direct and control the flow of extinguishing agent from the cylinder to the fire. Next slide, please. Okay, so there are three types of key components of building sprinkler system. The first one is ang wet pipe sprinkler system. Kani siya nga type of fire protection system is ang water stored sa pipes, which is immediately available dayon siya for discharge when a fire is detected. So ang system is consists of network of pipes, sprinkler heads, and valve, which are filled with water under pressure. So kung ang sprinkler head is activated typically by heat from a fire, ang water is ma-release dayon para ma-control or ma-extinguish ang kalayo. Kani siya nga system is widely used in commercial and residential building due to its reliability and quick response in time. The next one is ang dry pipe sprinkler system. Kani siya nga system is ga-utilize og air pressure para makip ang water out of the pipes until ang fire is detected. In this system, ang pipes is filled with pressurized air or kanang nitrogen, which is hold a valve closed. So when ang sprinkler head is activated, ang air dayon is mo-release, allowing sa valve to open so that ang water mo flow through the pipes to the activated sprinkler. Kani siya nga system is ideal for areas open to freezing temperature as it prevent water from seeping in the pipes where it could freeze and cause damage. The last one is ang pre-action sprinkler system. This system is combined features sa both wet and dry pipe system. Gayo siya og two-step process to release water. Initially, ang system is filled with air or nitrogen. Ang pre-action valve is mo remain closed until ang fire detection device such as ang smoke or ang heat detector is matriggered. So once activated ang valve is ma-open, allowing water to fill the pipes. So kani siya nga system is particularly useful in environments where accidental discharge of water could cause significant damage, such as in data center or kanang mga museum. Next slide, please. A type and key component of building sprinkler system. So, ang deluge sprinkler system is specially designed fire suppression system nga ga-release og large volume of water over a wide area, making the system ideal siya for protecting high-risk environment like industrial facility, storage warehouses, power plants, aircraft hangars, o marine environment. That end for my part. Thank you. Next reporter, please.
So now I'll discuss about the consideration of reaction sprinkler system. So first consideration is to consider a non-interlock system. So in this system, the sprinkler system's valve is opened by a fire alarm system. So the fire alarm system triggers the release of water into the sprinkler system, but only after a delay. So na mga advantages pod ani nga kaning pod nga consideration. So first is ma-minimize niya ang risk of accidental water discharge which can be costly and damaging. And the second is the delay gives occupants time to evacuate before water is released. And also there are also disadvantages ani pud nga consideration. So first is naa siya potential for delay. So the delay time could allow a fire to spread before water is released. And this consideration is ano siya, more complex and require careful maintenance to ensure they function properly. So the second consideration is a single interlock system. So in this system, the sprinkler system's valve is opened by a single fire alarm system detector. So it means that one detector must activate to trigger the water release. So ang advantages pod ani is mas quick ang iyang response. So the system activates faster than a non-interlock system because wala siya delay timer. So second is reduce ang complexity ani nga system. So it's less complex than a previous consideration, which is the non-interlock system, potentially na maka-reduce maintenance requirements. And the disadvantages pa dan is potential for false activation. So a single detector may potential na mag-malfunction siya, so this could trigger the system accidentally. And the third consideration is considering a double interlock system. So in this consideration, the sprinkler system's valve is opened by two independent fire alarm system detectors. So this means that duha ka detectors ang dapat ma-activate before water is released. So the advantages pod ani nga consideration is it reduced false activation. So kani nga option is ano siya, mas safe siya kaysa sa other two nga nga other two nga system because it requires two detectors to activate, significantly reducing the likelihood of false alarms. And also, it increased reliability. It provides a higher level of reliability in fire detection and response. But also, ang disadvantage pod ani nga double interlock system kay it requires nag-require siya og two detectors nga para mo activate siya, which could potentially delay the water release. Next slide, please. So standpipe system design. So the standpipe systems consist of piping and hose connections installed throughout a building to provide reliable water for the manual suppression of a fire by either the fire department or trained personnel. So there are types of standpipe systems. So the first is the wet standpipe system. So this type of system is a type of fire protection system that always has water to pressurize within the standpipe, and it's connected to the hose. It's ready for immediate use by firefighters. And second type is the dry standpipe system. So a dry standpipe system is a fire protection system where the standpipe and its connected hoses are initially empty of water. Water is introduced only when a fire occurs and a valve is open. Third type is the automatic or semi-automatic standpipe system. So these systems automatically introduce water into the standpipe and hoses when a fire alarm system is activated. And the last type is the manual. So this type of standby system requires firefighters to manually open a valve at the base of the standpipe to introduce water into the system. So next I'll discuss the three classes of standpipe system. So first is the class 1 standpipe system. So the class 1 standpipe system is designed for use by professional firefighters only. It's typically found in high-rise building and other structures where a large volume of water is needed for fire suppression. So the class 1 standpipes are critical for providing a reliable and efficient water supply for firefighters to combat fires in large and complex buildings. So next is the class 2. So the class 2 standpipe system is designed for use by both professional firefighters and building occupants. It's typically found in smaller buildings like apartments, office buildings, and some commercial buildings. So this class is provide a way for both firefighters and building occupants to access water for suppression. So the hose outlets within the building allow occupants to use a hose to try and extinguish a small fire, while firefighters can connect hoses to the fire department connections for more extensive firefighting operations. So the the last class is the class 3 standpipe system. So it is designed solely for use by building occupants. It is a smaller scale system often found in smaller buildings or areas where professional fire department access might be limited. So the primary purpose of class 3 standpipes is to allow building occupants to attempt to fight a small fire until the fire department arrives. And that's all for my part. Next reporter, please.
Good day, everyone. I am Johanny Rolian, and my task is to share about pipe sizing. So, what it's all about? System is super important because it ensures the right amounts of water may be delivered during the fire. So, and even if we compute everything, na siya minimum size na need to follow. First, the branch lines of the standpipe systems are to be sized hydraulically but cannot be smaller than 2.5 inches or 65 millimeters. So sa branch lines, this is the smaller pipes na nag-connect sa main standpipe to other areas. Again, this is to ensure na maskin smaller siya, kaya paghihapang i-deliver ang needed nga water flow in case of emergency. Second, the minimum size pipe for class 1 and 3 standpipe is 4 inches or 100 millimeters. And it's also the standpipe is part of a combined sprinkler system in a partially sprinklered building that is increased to 6 inches or 150 millimeters. So for class 1 and 3 are heavy duty and usually designed for fire department use like what Ms. Hannah said kaganina, kaya mas dako ang pipes nga needed for water flow. Now, when it comes to building with combined systems, like those na sprinklers pero dili fully sprinklered, the standpipe size needs to be bigger, like 6 inches or 150 millimeters. Why? Because in case of a fire, ang standpipe and sprinkler system will share a water supply. So kailangan enough ang pressure and flow for both systems can work at the same time. So, and if the building is protected with an automatic sprinkler system, then the minimum combined standpipe size can be 4 inches or 100 millimeters if hydraulically calculated. So if a building is fully protected daw, na siya by an fully protected siya, an automatic sprinkler system, we can still use the minimum of 4 inches or 100 millimeter pipe size for the standpipe. So as long as it's been computed gihapon siya hydraulically. So meaning, if ang water demand has been calculated and sulod gihapon siya niya is with 4 inches, then okay na siya. Next slide, please. Fire detection and alarm systems. So how do they help? Fire detection systems are designed to discover fires early in their development when times will still be available for the safe evacuation of occupants. And it's also early detection also plays a significant role in protecting the safety of emergency response personnel. So sa fire detection systems are designed para ma-detect ang fire early pa lang when there's still time for people to evacuate safely. Kumbaga, it spots the fire before things get out of control, like giving everyone the chance to get out safely. And another key rule niya is of early detection is that it helps the emergency responders to do their job effectively. Kay, if the fire is detected early, mas safe and efficient para sa ila to respond, and they can manage the fire before it spreads. Lastly, properly loss can be reduced and downtime for the operation minimized through early detection because control efforts are started while the fire is still small. So yung pa, sa early detection isn't just about safety sa tao because it's also minimize the property damage and nag-help din siya sa reducing downtime for business. Kung sa'yo pa lang nakita ang fire, mas dali siyang makontrol and mas gamay pa ang potential loss and time na masayang. So ang combination sa both system is what makes building super safe. So imagine kung wala detection system, dili na ito mahibalaan na naisunog. And without the alarm system pod, we would know when to leave. So these systems are crucial para dili mulala ang fire situation. Plus, it gives emergency responders a heads up or they can act quickly before things get out of hand. And dili lang siya about detecting fire or sounding alarms. Like these systems also help prevent major damage to the property. So by detecting and alarming people early, smaller fires can be managed and it lessens the chances of bigger problem. So whether sa balay, sa office, or malls, super important ang fire detection and alarm system to keep everyone safe and minimize the damage. So that ends my part. Next reporter, please.
Good day, everyone. I am Christian Lemuel Jalapan. I'm going to report the different types of fire alarm systems in their detectors. First is ionization. So ionization is commonly used in some industrial buildings or rooms that are highly flammable materials. This detector is highly sensitive to the small particles produced by fast flaming fires. These detectors work by ionizing the air between two electrodes, creating a current. So when smoke enters the chamber, as we see in the picture, when smoke enters the chamber, it disrupts this current, triggering the alarm. These detectors are suited for areas where rapid fire outbreaks are a concern, such as parehagan niya, mga industrial buildings nga flammable mga materials. So, pangalawa, we have photoelectric detectors. These detectors are more responsive to fires that begin with a long period of smoldering. They use a light source in a photocell. When smoke particles scatter the light beam, it redirects to the sensor, setting off the alarm. These detectors are ideal for spaces where smoldering fires from electrical pulse might occur. So, sa picture, makita nato na ay light source, light beam, and a light sensor. So, when fire broke out, the smoke particle will enter the light sensor, then the light rays activates the sensor, and smoke deflects the light, then it triggers the alarm. Then we have heat. Heat detectors signal an alarm when they sense a change in air temperature due to flames. However, since it's temperature reliant, these alarms do experience false alarms due to humidity or steam. For this reason, these are most often relied upon in storage facilities or warehouses. Next slide, please. So we have combined ionization and photoelectric. So a go-to in the industry, a hybrid of ionization and a photoelectric detector is often deemed the best option on the market. Kaya will be effective siya and pwede siya sa ang ionization is kurente siya while ang photoelectric nagkuan siya sa smoke particles. So effective yun po ni siya. So with both an electrical current and a light beam, this device is one of the fastest you can get, detecting smoke rapidly to sound a warning alarm. So next slide, please. So we have fire alarm system categories, the automatic versus manual fire alarm system. So manual fire alarm system, this is a fire alarm system that is manned and operated 24/7 by a person, and the alerts will be made manually at the pole station. An automatic fire alarm system, its definition is a fire alarm system that gets automatically triggered by fire or smoke. And that's all my part. Thank you. Next slide.
So good evening, everyone. I am Mel Francis Buisan. Now I'll be discussing the types of fire alarm systems. So the first one is the two-wire fire alarm systems. A two-wire fire alarm system is founded on a standard conventional system. However, it utilizes a two-wire system. With this structure, the call points, detectors, and alarm devices are wired to two zone cables going back to the fire alarm control panel. This two-wire system allows for increased flexibility that also has additional benefits like detector recognition and isolation. The second one is the wireless fire alarm system. With a wireless system, you'll have a fire alarm without cables connecting the detention device to the fire alarm panel. This system relies on multi-frequency links for heightened functionality, maintaining signal strength for constant protection. The third one is the conventional fire alarm system. A conventional fire alarm system is a wired system that is frequently used in smaller properties. This system divides spaces into different detection zones, which each wired to a dedicated circuit in a control unit. This allows for multiple detectors in each zone, and in the case of fires detected, the panel shows what zone the signal was triggered within. However, since it shares a zone, the location has to be checked out in a person to find the specific location of the fire, which is the reason why it's best for smaller spaces. So next slide, please. So the next one is the analog addressable fire alarm system. So the definition of an addressable fire alarm system is an intelligent system whose components are connected to each other and the control unit. An addressable fire alarm system allows you to set manual and automatic alarms in distinct parts of the building. So the fifth one is the hybrid fire alarms. So hybrid fire alarm systems are the perfect combination because they allow the hardwired and wireless detection systems to work in harmony to create a more customized and efficient whole. In other words, if something damages the wires of the conventional system, the addressable system can come as a reliable backup. So the last type of a fire alarm system is the aspirating smoke detection systems. So one of the more sensitive fire detection options you can choose from is an aspiring system that can pick up on extremely small fires much quicker than other systems. It does so with a fan that pulls in air from the building, which then passes through a pipe system and a detector that checks for any signs for potential smoke particles. So that would be all for my part. So next reporter, please.
Good day, everyone. I'm Jolly Francisco, and I'm assigned to discuss the last part of the presentation, which is the building fire protection system design and detailing information. So, for fire protection system design, planning for it involves an integrated approach in which system designers needs to analyze building components as a total package. So as you can see in our slide, of course, from the word detailing information, we need to in building fire system protection, we need to go in a detailed manner so we can avoid error, especially this type of design that we are building involves the lives of people. So, of course, in order to attain what we want to have, it's important to have a guide. So, here are the steps in building fire protection system design. So, step number one is code compliance. So, code compliance is the first objective in any design. So codes are legal minimum requirements. So what do you mean by that? So we often in engineering we often use the word codes in infrastructure for minimum requirements. For example, what is the minimum requirement of the door that is placed on the ground? So from the ground, what is the distance of the door or the minimum height of the door or the chandelier nagabitay sa ceiling? What is the minimum distance of those? So those are the minimum requirements. So those are the codes. So of course, since there are codes or rules and regulation regarding this system, we need to be thorough since this is a special design that saves lives. So we need to, um, in the design process, this typical fire protection system goals, these are the goals that we need to accomplish. So Number one is, of course, to save lives. Number two is saving the property. And lastly is preserving business continuity. So that's why it's so important to follow the guides so we can attain this goal, saving lives, saving property, and preserving business continuity. For step number two, we have the fire detection solution. So as what the previous reporters or what we have learned so far, we've learned that there are different types of um, fire protection. We have fire extinguisher, we have sensors, and so on. So in this step, modern smoke detection system go beyond the small device that senses smoke and triggers the alarm. So of course, as we go along towards our day by day, na tayo mga nakakita nga lapses towards that type of material sa mga fire extinguisher. So, syempre mag-innovate ka. So, mas ga-upgrade pod. So, as time goes by, as kita nga mag-design aning fire protection, na yung mga modernized na mga fire extinguisher na mas easy to use and so on. So, next is step 3, alarms and notification. So these two goes hand in hand. So for alarm, of course, the purpose of this is to alarm the person. Or example, we are in a building. So the purpose of the alarm is, of course, to let us know na there is a disaster going on either in that building or the building na iyang abay para maka-evacuate ta immediately para dili ta maapil atong kwan. And sa notification, of course, kamulumbag ting tong alarm, ma-notify sa dangatong police or firefighters nga mga respondent na matabangan or mas ma-lessen ang casualties. So they go hand in hand, alarm to notify us and and notification to also notify the respondents. And lastly, I no, I mean step 4, suppression of a fire. Sprinkler system are the most common fire suppression tool. So sprinkler, syempre from what the previous reporter said about sprinkler nga muna siyang tong type nga the store of water. So this sprinkler system is a crucial part of the suppression system design. So sprinklers are used to contain fires until they can be put out. And aside from sprinklers, of course, there is another option which is a chemical suppression. These are for the buildings na where using water is not an option. So other than sprinkler, like the previous reporter said, like muga na po kaning mga chemical na para sa mga building na kwan dili gid siya kwan sa water. And lastly, step number 5, we have the system maintenance. So of course, from the word maintenance, it's so useless to build something na dili na to i-maintain. Like, nag-build kag fire system na alarm, then wala na mag-atiman. So by the time na disaster, since wala na siya gi-maintain, tingala ka, nag-disaster na, wala ning alarm, so mas na pahamak pa. So, having your fire protection system checked once a year is crucial to ensure fire protection is working properly and effectively. And also, we need to note na another great approach to the design of your fire system is to always strive to go beyond and the minimum fire code requirements. So I mentioned earlier about code na natay specific na inani or specific na measurement, specific this and that. Pero since we are dealing with so much like risks, so much including people's lives, so we need to go beyond the code. So after all, the purpose of a fire protection system is the protection of life and property. So that's the 5 steps in building fire protection system design in detailing information. And that's all for me. And I would like to give the floor back to the leader to sum up everything that's been tackled so far. Thank you.
Okay, let's proceed to the conclusion of topic. As a group, we conclude that life safety systems are the cornerstone of protecting human life and property from hazards. By integrating a combination of active and passive measures, these systems provide a comprehensive framework for ensuring safety and mitigating risk. They are not merely a compliance requirements, but a vital investment in the well-being of individuals and communities. Through this, we can create environments that foster confidence, resilience, and a higher quality of life. All right, that's it. Thank you for listening, everyone, and have a nice day.